Hi there, I'm Jules from Tapping with Jules, back here again with Susie Kim, and we are now going to do our EFT session to work on her procrastination around an event that she's got coming up. So Susie, the goal that we agreed on was that you wanted to, this afternoon, sit down at your laptop and do what needs to be done to change the event description for your Rest and Receive program. So it's going from being an in-person program to being an online program. So you need to basically change all those details and then announce that, like actually launch that, different date, different format. And so you're wanting to do that via email and Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, so the way we work on a goal is we think about doing that this afternoon, and I'll just get you to start tapping on the side of your hand. And actually first, I'm just going to show you where the points are, because I know that you haven't had a session with a practitioner before. So if at any time during the EFT session that you get a bit teary or a bit overwhelmed, I'll be saying to you, let's just do some silent tapping. And what that looks like, and I'll get you just to follow me, is so we just start tapping on the top of the head. And I might say to you, just notice how that feels, fingers tapping on the top of the head. And then this is the eyebrow point. So right at the start of the eyebrows, yep. And then side of the eye point. And I might ask you to just, gaze at something that looks pretty, like I've got a little Japanese lamp here that I look at. That's right, just a nice soft gaze. And then this is the under the eye point here. And then this is under the nose point. And often this will just help regulate a person to the point of, like, maybe they're a bit teary, but now they're able to just continue talking about whatever it was that made them teary. So it's really important to know that it's not about saying tears aren't good or sadness isn't acceptable or anything like that. It's all emotions are good and acceptable, but it's just more about regulation. So I just want you to feel comfortable and to get through the session feeling as much as possible pretty comfortable in your nervous system and your body and emotionally. All right, so as you think about sitting down this afternoon to make these changes regarding your Rest and Receive event, what comes up for you as an emotion just now? Or a thought, feeling, anything in the body?
Yeah, there's like a feeling of immobility.
Yeah.
And the thought is definitely like, no, I want to stay stuck. This is fun, or like, this is nice, or this is definitely.
Okay, there you go. Isn't that funny? And can you feel that in your body somewhere when you're thinking about it?
Yeah, it would be my gut.
Yeah. What's it feel like in the gut?
It just feels like a big, I don't know, space that I can just crawl into and not, yeah.
What was that?
Like, yeah, just like a big space I can crawl into and not do anything.
Okay.
So funny.
Isn't it funny? And so immobility is the feeling, even though I feel kind of like I feel this immobility. Yeah, and 0 to 10. So if 10 is the maximum, how kind of intense does that immobility feel just now?
Like 60 to 70%. Yeah, and it's interesting because it's immobility, because in my like what I'm envisioning is like crawling in and just sort of like snuggling up, but that is the immobility. Yeah.
Okay. And so 6 or 7 out of 10. And what part of actually doing that task is bringing that up? Like, what thing are you focusing on in your mind that's making you feel like you just want to crawl into a big space and snuggle up?
I think one thing is like all the little bits and pieces, like, oh, I got to change the dates on the Insta tiles, and then I got to do this, and then I got to do this, and then I got to do that. So there's just even the thought of that, like lots of little bits and pieces. I got to choose a photo for the Facebook post, and I got And then probably deciding the curriculum a little bit, although I've worked on that already. So,
Okay. So let's just stick with that idea of like, oh, all those little bits and pieces. Got to find photos and that. Does that feel okay?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to do what's called the setup statement, which is where I'm going to like look at the words you've given me, put together a little setup statement. And your job is to let me know, does that sound accurate? So does that kind of resonate? Does that reflect what's going on for you as you think about this goal? Yeah. So just tell me how this is, even though I feel this immobility, just even the thought of all the little bits and pieces that I have to change, you know, like having to find a photo. And I feel like, no, I want to stay stuck. This is nice. And I see myself just crawling into a big space and snuggling up and where I don't have to do anything. Does that sort of feel okay?
That's so accurate. Yep.
Yeah, and I feel this in my gut. Okay. And so for an ending, the choice is just tell me how these feel. I deeply and completely accept myself. That's kind of the standard one. Or I accept myself and how I feel. Or that's just where I'm at right now. Like, do any of those feel more?
What was that second one? I
accept myself and how I feel.
Yeah, I think that I like that. Yeah, that's great.
That's the one most Aussies go for. Okay, so we're going to say the setup statement 3 times, and you're just copying me basically. Even though I feel this immobility, have you said that?
Even though I feel this immobility.
Just thinking about all the little bits and pieces.
Just thinking about all the little bits and pieces.
All the little things I have to change for this event to launch.
All the little things that I have to change for this event to launch. Got to
find a photo and change the Instagram tiles.
Got to find a photo and change the Instagram tiles.
And in my mind, I'm like, no, I want to stay stuck.
And in my mind, I'm like, no, I want to stay stuck.
And I feel this in my gut.
And I feel this in my gut.
It's like a big space I can crawl into.
It's like a big space I can crawl into.
And I can just do nothing in there.
And I can just do nothing in there.
It feels like immobility.
It feels like immobility.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Those words okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can change anything. You can just throw in something that pops into your head. Even though I feel this immobility.
Even though I feel this immobility.
Even the thought of all the little bits and pieces I have to change.
Even the thought of all the little bits and pieces I have to change. Just
to launch this event in its new date and format.
Just to launch this event in its new date and format.
In my mind, I'm like, no, I want to stay stuck.
In my mind, I'm like, no, I want to stay stuck.
This is nice, not doing anything.
This is nice, not doing anything.
And I feel this in my gut.
And I feel this in my gut.
Like a big space I can crawl into and do nothing.
Like a big space I can crawl into and do nothing.
But I accept myself and how I feel.
But I accept myself and how I feel.
And I'll ask you to keep your eyes open. I should have told you that. Even though I feel this immobility.
Even though I feel this immobility.
Even the thought of all the little bits and pieces.
Even the thought of all the little bits and pieces.
Changes I have to make to launch this program in its new date and format.
Changes I have to make to launch this program in its new date and format.
My mind says, no, I want to stay stuck.
My mind says, no, I want to stay stuck.
This is nice, not doing anything.
This is nice, not doing anything.
And I'm feeling this immobility in my gut.
And I'm feeling this immobility in my gut.
I can see a big space I can crawl into.
I can see a big space I can crawl into.
And I can just snuggle up in there and do nothing.
And I can just snuggle up in there and do nothing.
But I accept myself and how I feel.
But I accept myself and how I feel.
Okay, great job, Susie. So now we're just tapping on the top of the head. Repeat after me. This immobility.
This immobility.
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 side of the eye. This immobility in my gut.
This immobility in my gut.
Under the eye. This immobility feels like a big space in my gut.
This immobility feels like a big space in my gut.
This immobility.
This immobility.
This immobility in my gut.
This immobility in my gut.
A big space I can crawl into and do nothing.
A big space I can crawl into and do nothing.
This immobility in my gut.
This immobility in my gut.
Okay, so we'll come back to the side of the hand point. And I'll have you just do a little scan for me. Just notice what you notice, thinking about yourself, sitting down this afternoon at the laptop to do all these little bits and pieces, changes. Immobility 0 to 10. What do you notice?
Yeah, like probably like 5, 6 maybe. Yeah, I can feel like the allure of, you know, it's not like literally my bed, but it could be just like the allure of like sliding away.
Yeah.
Into a bed-like place.
Okay. And what is it about, like when you're focusing on the task, when you're imagining yourself doing all those little bits and pieces, I've got to find a photo, etc., etc. So what is it about that makes you want to slide away into a bed-like place?
Just feels like a lot of decisions.
Okay. Any of those decisions feel like particularly difficult to make or challenging or whatever?
Like, actually nothing in particular, because it's all those little micro decisions, like the wording of the email and the wording, like I've written a post, but just to check the wording of that and make sure the curriculum's good, make sure all the, you know, all the little bits.
Yeah. It's actually a lot of work, isn't it?
It's so much work.
Really, it's so much more work than it looks like. Yeah. Okay. And are you feeling this immobility in your body somewhere still, Susie?
Like right this moment, I guess there could,
Still something in the gut or not?
Hard to say right now, because it almost felt like before it was almost like my body was a bit more numb, like I couldn't feel, and so I just wanted to like just hop over into the bed, you know. So it's almost like I wasn't feeling in my body and I just could just sort of skip over.
Yeah. And what do you feel now when you think about that task and all those little micro decisions? Do you feel, is your body sort of
my body's
to you,
there.
or?
My body's like a bit like, I don't know, like, a bit uneasy, I suppose. Like, there's a fluid but uneasy feeling, I suppose, in my gut, and a bit of stuckness still.
Where's the stuckness? Can you feel where that
so
is?
the stuckness is in my stomach, and then I guess the unease is sort of above, a bit more in my chest, I suppose.
Cool. All right. Even though I still have this immobility, as I think of myself sitting down to make all those little micro decisions,
like the
wording of the email, checking the post. I feel the allure of sliding away into a bed-like place. And I feel a bit stuck in my stomach still. And I feel some uneasy feeling in my chest. And I accept myself and how I feel. Are those words okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even though I still have this immobility feeling. As I imagine myself sitting at the laptop. There's a lot of little decisions to make. Like the wording of the email and checking the post and finding a photo.
Like the wording of the email and checking the post and finding a photo.
And I just feel uneasy in my chest.
And I just feel uneasy in my chest.
And there's a stuckness in my stomach.
And there's a stuckness in my stomach.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I still have this immobility.
Even though I still have this immobility.
As I imagine myself sitting down to work on this afternoon.
As I imagine myself sitting down to work on this afternoon.
There's a lot of micro decisions I have to make.
There's a lot of micro decisions I have to make.
Like I've got to make sure the curriculum's good and the wording of the email.
I've got to make sure the curriculum is good and the wording of the email.
And I just feel the allure of sliding away into a bed-like place.
And I feel the allure of sliding away into a bed-like place.
And I feel uneasy in my chest.
And I feel uneasy in my chest.
And a stuckness in my stomach.
And a stuckness in my stomach.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Okay, great job. Top of the head. This immobility.
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 This immobility feels like stuckness in my stomach.
Immobility feels like stuckness in my stomach.
This immobility.
This immobility.
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 Feels kind of uneasy in my chest.
Kind of uneasy in my chest.
This immobility.
This immobility.
This immobility.
This immobility.
Okay, so come back to the side of the hand. And once again, just do a little scan for me. Notice what you notice. Imagining yourself sitting down to make all those little micro decisions.
Okay, it feels a bit more spacious, actually.
Yeah.
Doing that. I can still feel a pressure in my head.
Yeah.
And it just feels busy.
Okay.
Sort of at the back of my head.
Okay, yeah. And so does immobility still feel like the right word when you think about doing those tasks, making those little decisions?
So much immobility. It's more like, I guess it would more be like pressure or focus.
Okay.
It would be more about
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so pressure 0 to 10.
Pressure 0 to 10. Yeah, like in my head, it actually feels really high. Like, yeah, like 9.
Okay.
So
What about
strange.
the sort of, what about the emotion? Like even though I feel this pressure, does that feel like 9, or is that more about the kind of sensation in your head?
The pressure feels like it's less a sensation. It's more like a busy chattering away.
Okay.
And it's not really a sensation, but it does like really take a lot of focus. Like it is quite like nattering away, chattering away. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We might just do something. So what's the feeling you get when you think about doing that stuff? Is it like I have to really focus on the back of my head? It feels like it's really there.
No, it just feels like that is going to steal the focus, or that's going to derail me.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean? Or distract
what I want you
me.
So I'm thinking we might just do some work just on that actual sensation, right?
Yeah.
So there'll be no emotions involved, no events. I want you to just focus on where you're feeling that in the back of your head, and just kind of throw out any words that describe that feeling right now.
Okay. Like loud.
Yeah.
Like constant.
Yeah.
Like chatter, distracting, busy.
Yeah.
Like background. Yeah, it's just like constant. Yeah, I think that would be the main words.
Okay. And does pressure still feel like a right word for that, or is that's not really there anymore?
I guess it is mental pressure. It's not so much emotional pressure, but it's like,
No.
it's like there's a marketplace in my head. It's like there's a, you know,
Okay, yeah,
it's
sure.
it's quite interesting, yeah.
And it's at the back of the head?
Yeah, it's at the back to the right.
Okay. Isn't it fun? All right. And 0 to 10 on just on the intensity of that feeling, like there's a marketplace in the back of my head.
0 to 10, like, yeah, right now it'd be like an 8, maybe.
Okay, cool. All right. Even though it feels like there's a marketplace in the back of my head.
Even though it feels like there's a marketplace in the back of my head.
To the right of the back of my head.
To the right of the back of my head.
It's loud.
It's loud.
It's constant.
It's constant.
There's all this chatter.
There's all this chatter.
It's busy.
It's busy.
It's very distracting.
It's very distracting.
It's in the background there.
It's in the background there.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Those words okay?
Mm-hmm.
Even though I feel like there's a marketplace in the back of my head.
Even though I feel like there's a marketplace in the back of my head.
It's constant chatter.
It's constant chatter.
It's loud and busy.
It's loud and busy.
Very distracting in the background there.
It's very distracting in the background there.
I accept myself and how I feel.
I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though it feels like there's a marketplace in the back of my head.
Even though it feels like there's a marketplace in the back of my head.
To the right of the back of my head.
To the right of the back of my head.
It's loud.
It's loud.
It's constant chatter.
It's constant chatter. It's constant chatter and opinions.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And it's very busy and distracting.
And it's very busy and distracting.
All these chattering opinions in the background.
All these chattering opinions in the background.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
This marketplace in the back of my head.
This marketplace in the back of my head.
Constant chattering opinions.
Constant chattering opinions.
Loud and distracting.
Loud and distracting.
Constant chattering opinions.
Constant chattering opinions.
It's really busy in the background there.
It's really busy in the background there.
In the back of my head to the right.
The back of my head to the right.
It's like there's a marketplace there.
There's a marketplace there.
Full of chattering opinions.
Full of chattering opinions.
Okay, come back to the side of the hand. And so now just notice anything you notice about the feeling in the back of your head to the right.
Actually feels a bit quieter, or like it's not so much there anymore.
Okay, so it was like an 8 out of 10. What level of intensity would you give the feeling?
2.
Okay, cool. All right, great. So I'll just have you now, that technique has sort of done its job. So now I want you to just come back to imagining yourself this afternoon, sitting at the laptop, ready to make these little micro decisions and all these little changes so you can launch this event today. What comes up as an emotion?
Yeah. Okay, so a bit of fear.
Yeah.
And that's in my stomach. Also, it kind of goes up from my stomach up into my chest.
Yeah.
Shoot. Yeah, and like there's a feeling of wanting to hide and not be seen.
Yeah.
And not wanting to take up people's attention and yeah, because it feels like I don't know why this is more attention than others, but yeah, it feels like I'm like asking for people's attention.
Yeah, right.
It just feels a bit more penetrative in a way compared to just like a normal sharing or a normal value post or, you know, like education or something. It's like, hey, no, I'm actually doing this thing and I'm announcing it. It's like, it feels like like I'm taking more space, I suppose,
Okay, yeah.
or I'm asking for more space, something like that. Yeah, it just
Yeah,
feels like there's more riding on it or something.
yeah, that's right. And what number would you give the fear?
Yeah.
0 to 10.
Yeah, like maybe 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely there.
Okay, good, good. Oh, you're doing great. And what is it that makes you feel like this is asking for more attention, or like that more writing it, because it's, you're not just sharing, it's like I'm wanting people to come, like is it
So
you know
I
what it
think it's,
is about this event that
yeah,
makes you feel more like, oh, I'm actually asking for people's attention?
yeah, because I'm selling something, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm selling something with a deadline, like with a date set. It's not just like, yeah, just contact me anytime, and you know,
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
just fit
yeah.
you in when I can, or I'll fit you in,
Yeah,
I'll tell
that's right.
you when you can fit in or not fit in, or, you know, it's
Yeah.
like there's actually a date.
Okay, really good. Okay. Even though I feel this fear,
Even though I feel this fear,
as I imagine sitting down this afternoon
as I imagine sitting down this afternoon
to do what I need to do to launch this program,
to do what I need to do to launch this program,
I'm feeling like I want to hide and not be seen.
I'm feeling like I want to hide and not be seen.
It feels like I'm asking for people's attention.
It feels like I'm asking for people's attention.
I'm like announcing something and there's more writing on it.
I'm announcing something and there is more writing on it.
I'm actually selling something
I'm actually selling something.
and there's like a deadline and a date set.
There's a deadline and a date set.
And I feel the fear from my stomach to my chest.
And I feel the fear from my stomach to my chest.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Are those words okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even though I have this fear,
Even though I have this fear,
as I imagine sitting down to launch this program this afternoon,
as I imagine sitting down to launch this program this afternoon,
I feel like I want to hide and not be seen.
I feel like I want to hide and not be seen.
This isn't just sharing like I normally do.
This isn't just sharing like I normally do.
I'm announcing and selling something.
I'm announcing and selling something.
There's like a date set and a deadline.
There's like a date set and a deadline.
It feels like I'm asking for people's attention.
It feels like I'm asking for people's attention.
And I feel the fear from my stomach to my chest.
And I feel the fear from my stomach to my chest.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I have this fear,
even though I have this fear,
from my stomach to my chest,
from my stomach to my chest,
it feels like I'm asking to take up more space.
it feels like I'm asking to take up more space.
I'm asking for people's attention.
I'm asking for people's attention.
Just feels like there's more writing on this.
It just feels like there's more writing on this.
There's like a deadline and a date set.
There's like a deadline and a date set.
And I'm selling something, not just sharing.
And I'm selling something, not just sharing.
And it's just bringing up some fear for me.
And it's just bringing up some fear for me.
But I accept myself and how I feel.
But I accept myself and how I feel.
Okay, great work. Top of the head. This fear.
This fear.
This fear.
This fear.
This fear from my stomach to my chest.
This fear from my stomach to my chest.
This fear.
This fear.
This fear.
This fear.
This fear from my stomach to my chest.
Fear from my stomach to my chest.
This fear.
This fear.
This fear.
This fear.
Alrighty, so come back to the side of the hand and actually just have a little drink, perhaps if you. Good to stay hydrated while we're tapping. Okay, Susie, you're doing such a good job. So now just do a little scan for me. Notice what you notice. Imagining yourself sitting at the laptop, making little micro decisions, all these little bits and pieces, ready to launch, rest and receive. New date, new format. What's the fear 0 to 10? Or is there something else that's popped up?
Yeah, the fear is probably still like a 3 to 4.
Yeah.
There is something that's popped up. It's more just this feeling in my stomach.
Yeah.
And it feels like some sort of dread.
Yeah.
Feels yeah, like the picture is like the child is like dragging their feet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like, oh, do I have to do that? Or something.
Yeah.
There's just a feeling of that.
Yeah. And can you kind of, if you relate that to the task, do you know what it is about the task that makes you feel like, do I have to do that? Like, is it the selling? Is it the date, the deadline, asking for more space and attention? Or any other aspects you can think of that make you feel kind of dread about this or fear?
Yeah, I think it is probably the selling. Probably that. Yeah, I think that, because I think what comes up is like, right, I want to be in a really good, energetic and emotional state when I'm doing that. It just feels like that. Yeah, I think it's around the selling, but I think it's around, got to do all those little pieces. I think it's about having to do it all. Like having to do all the pieces, and then get into a good, like have it all right, like the technical details, and then get into a good state, and then, you know, post it. Yeah. It's like, because I don't want to post something when I'm not feeling good, but I also don't want to post something if it's not correct, or if there's something wrong with it, if it's not sounding right. So I think it's like, it just feels like so many steps,
Sure.
Like, not only do I have to get it right, I have to feel good. It's so annoying.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, that's coming from, yes, like a little kid dragging their feet. Like, really?
Yeah.
Now I gotta go. Now I gotta do that.
So much work.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you're feeling this in the stomach.
Yeah.
So would we say, even though I feel fear, but it feels like dread in the stomach?
It feels like dread. It feels like dread, and like
so we say, even though I feel this dread?
Yeah.
Dread. And is that 3 or 4, or is that more?
Yeah, that's like a 6. That's like, it's quite alive if I tap into it.
Okay. All right. Even though I have this dread. As I imagine myself sitting down to do this afternoon. I've got this picture of a little child dragging their feet. And saying, like, do I have to do that? Because I've got to get it all right to start with. And then I've got to get myself into a good state energetically. And there's so many steps involved. And I'm feeling this dread in my stomach. And I accept myself and how I feel. Those words okay? Even though I feel this dread in my stomach. And I've got this picture of a little child dragging their feet. Saying, do I have to do that? It's so annoying. There's so many steps. I have to get it all right. And then get myself into a good state energetically.
then get myself into a good state energetically.
Because I'm selling something here.
Because I'm selling something here.
And I feel the dread in my stomach.
And I feel the dread in my stomach.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I feel this dread in my stomach.
Even though I feel this dread in my stomach.
I can see a child dragging their feet to this task.
I can see a child dragging their feet to this task.
Saying, do I have to do that?
Saying, do I have to do that?
This feels like there's so many steps. So annoying.
It feels like there are so many steps and it's so annoying.
I'm selling something here.
I'm selling something here.
And I want to get it all right.
And I want to get it all right.
And then I've got to get myself into a great state energetically to promote it.
Get myself into a great state energetically to promote it.
And I feel this dread in my stomach.
And I feel this dread in my stomach.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Okay, top of the head. This dread in my stomach.
This dread in my stomach.
Dread.
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 This dread in my stomach.
Dread in my stomach.
I see this picture of a child dragging their feet.
I see this picture of a child dragging their feet.
Saying, do I have to do that?
Saying, do I have to do that?
This dread in my stomach.
This dread in my stomach.
This dread.
This dread.
Pardon me. Okay, so coming back to the side of the hand. So now as you imagine this afternoon, sitting down, making all those little micro decisions, all those changes. What number would you say the dread feels like, or is there something else?
Dread is probably like, yeah, it's softened. It's like a 3 to 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There might be something else, but I don't know exactly what it is. It feels like like a little dot.
What do you mean?
like there could be something else, but I'm not fully sure. Like there is a sensation, but it's like I can't quite.
Okay.
If it is something, it feels like it's a dot, and I can't quite get into it.
Where is it?
It's in my mind's eye, but I guess it could be. It could be probably be in my stomach.
Okay.
It's like a little dot. Yeah. But I'm not sure if it is something, because it could just be the fear of there not being anything. It could even be that.
Okay.
Like, oh, does that mean I have to actually do the thing?
Isn't that funny? All right, and what's the dread about? So the 3 or 4, like when you imagine yourself doing that, so many steps, selling something, what comes to your mind when you think about what is making you dread doing that now?
Yeah, it's really just the effort, really.
Mm-hmm.
Just the effort in sitting down and staying focused and doing the thing. Yeah, it's just a very general global feeling of effort.
Okay. Is there any, like, would there be any particular like person that you'd be thinking like, oh, what are they going to think? Or because I just like you to be a little bit more specific about what the dread might be. Like is there something about you imagine posting it and like what the response may or may not be? Like, see if you can just feel into
that. I think there's actually a question of like, is that the right date? Is one. Yeah. And then second is, yeah, there's one person, there's 2 people who I've said like the previous date, and there's a little bit of, oh, I'm gonna have to tell them it's a week later.
Yeah, true.
And then
And
I guess,
is there, like, they might be, what are you worried about there? Like, they might be like, disappointed or something.
yeah, they might be a bit disappointed, or I guess I feel inconsistent. Like I like to, if I say something, I like to just do that.
Okay,
And then there's more, just general, because I'm taking a week break in the middle of that 8 weeks because I'm going to a training. And so I don't know, just having to explain that in some way, and which is okay, but
in the middle of the actual program.
Yeah.
I'm taking
a whole week break.
Yeah.
And there's little feelings of, it'd be easier not to do this anyway. The whole thing. Yeah, there's little feelings of that.
Of like putting the whole, like just not doing the event sort of thing. Or
yeah,
not doing
not doing it at all. I'm like, why did I choose to do this? This is like, I'm not doing it. I'm doing it for my own growth. It's great that I'm donating
sometimes,
profits.
Isn't it? Growth. That's right. Yeah. All right. So is dread still the right word when you imagine like, I've got the right date and I've got to tell these people to change the date and that's inconsistent? Is dread still, even though I feel this dread?
It's more like nerves, a little bit of fear, I suppose, a bit of anxiousness, and it feels more like a fluttery feelings, like even those little questions around like, are people going to buy it? Are people going to be interested? It's like, it's more like little fluttery feelings around that. I'm like,
where are they in your body, do you reckon?
Fluttery ones, just around my chest, really, front of my chest.
Okay.
Fluttery, a little bit in my stomach.
Okay. All right. And fear, or do you want to say even though I feel this fear, or even though I feel anxious thinking about that?
I think it's anxious.
Yeah. 0 to 10. How intense does it feel?
Like 5 to 6.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Even though I feel anxious.
Even though I feel anxious.
As I imagine doing what I need to do to launch the program today.
As I imagine doing what I need to do to launch the program today.
I'm still thinking, is it the right date?
I'm still thinking, is it the right date?
I've got to tell those 2 people that I've changed the date.
I've got to tell those 2 people that I've changed the date.
And I feel inconsistent doing that.
And I feel inconsistent doing that.
Are people going to be interested in it?
Are people going to be interested in it?
Are people going to buy it?
Are people going to buy it?
And I've got a fluttery feeling in my stomach and my chest.
Oh yeah, I've got another question. Is it going to be worth it for me?
That's right. And I've got a fluttery feeling in my stomach and my chest.
And I've got a fluttery feeling in my stomach and my chest.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I feel anxious.
Even though I feel anxious.
As I think about changing all these details and micro decisions.
As I think about changing all these details and micro decisions.
I'm still wondering, like, is this even going to be worth it for me?
I'm still wondering, is this even going to be worth it for me?
I'm just doing this for my own growth and expansion.
I'm just doing this for my own growth and expansion, a little bit for other people, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm donating the profits. But I'm just still wondering, is it the right date?
But I'm still wondering, is it the right date?
Are people going to be interested? Are they going to buy it?
Are people going to be interested? Are they going to buy it?
And I feel fluttery feelings in my chest and my stomach.
And I feel fluttery feelings in my chest and my stomach.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
And I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though I just feel a bit anxious.
Even though I just feel a bit anxious.
When I think about sitting down to make all these little changes to the program.
When I think about sitting down and making all these changes to the program.
And thinking, is this even the right date I've picked?
I'm thinking, is this even the right date I've picked?
Because I've got to tell those people that I've changed the date.
Because I've got to tell those people that I've changed the date.
And I just feel fluttery in my chest and my stomach.
I just feel fluttery in my chest and my stomach.
I'm thinking, is this even going to be worth it?
I'm thinking, is this even going to be worth it?
Are people going to buy it?
Are people going to buy it?
I accept myself and how I feel.
But I accept myself and how I feel.
This anxious feeling.
This anxious feeling.
Anxious.
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 Feeling fluttery in my stomach with this anxious feeling.
Fluttery in my stomach with this anxious feeling.
Feeling anxious.
Feeling anxious.
Feels a bit fluttery in my chest.
Feels a bit fluttery in my chest.
Feeling anxious.
Feeling anxious.
Feels fluttery in my chest and my stomach.
Feels fluttery in my chest and my stomach.
Okay, so come back to the side of the hand. Have another sip if you want to.
Okay.
Cool.
You know, it feels pretty good. It feels pretty good. It feels pretty relaxed.
Right. So anxious 0 to 10.
Yeah, like I don't know, like imperceptible. Like I'd say like 1 or 2, 1 or 0.
Okay. Any and what do you think? What's your mind doing now when you imagine sitting down, making all these little decisions and changes and telling, is it the right date, all that stuff?
Yeah, it feels like my mind feels like quite calm, like there's not actually that much going on in there right now.
Okay.
So yeah, so I might imagine myself sitting down and making changes. Yeah, there's like my mind's just being like, yeah, like you can do it or you can not do it, like
You have the power to choose.
like it's up to you. Yeah, right.
Okay.
You don't have to do it, you can do it.
That's right. So can you find any like negative thoughts, any things to sort of say to you like, oh, it's going to be annoying or it's going to be difficult, or are people going to be interested? Are they going to buy? Are they like any of that stuff hanging around?
Yeah, like it could be, I think there's almost like an assumption that it will be a bit annoying, but I think that is a little bit realistic in a way.
Yeah. So what will be annoying?
Just making those decisions, making those changes.
Yeah.
It'd be a little bit annoying. Yeah, I think, will people be interested? I just kind of assume they will, I think it's gotten a lot softer, but it's more like just like, oh, once you announce it, you're gonna have to, just show up a bit more regularly. I've basically taken about 6 days off, like mostly off, like I haven't posted anything in about 6 days, which is quite a long time for me. Like that's I do that, I guess, semi-regularly, but yeah, but it's still like a while off.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's probably a little bit of like just expectation from myself that I would show up a bit more regularly and post a bit more. Yeah.
And how's it feeling in the body? So you said your mind feels pretty calm.
My body feels mostly okay, really. Like little bubbles of anxiety, I suppose, but excuse me, it feels pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so anxious 0 to 10, like as you imagine, oh, it is going to be a bit annoying. I'm going to have to like show up a bit more often and post more consistently.
Yeah, like a 4. Like a 3. Yeah.
And what
feels pretty good.
Okay, what's the anxious feeling about? Like what made it go up to 3 or 4?
To 3 or 4, okay. I think it's like fear that I'm not going to do it. I think that's like there's a little bit like, hey, Susie, you're feeling all relaxed about it now and it's available. And are you still going to choose just to not do it?
Okay. All right. So I reckon what we might do, so you reckon a 3 or a 4, a fear or anxious feeling?
Yeah,
that you might just ditch altogether?
Not ditch altogether, but it's almost like, what if I just choose the safe bed place out of choice, like out of, when it's available? It's almost like because that's easy or something. Yeah.
What if you choose what though? What's the option there?
Like to be safe in the stuckness, What if I choose to avoid it anyway? What if I, something like that? And that's more of a mental feeling. Like generally, if I'm feeling really relaxed and motivated, I actually do just do the thing. I'm pretty good at executing when I feel good.
Okay.
Yeah. But that would be more like a little more of a mindy fear.
Okay. All right. And there's little bubbles of anxiety. Where are they?
Right at the front of my chest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Even though there's still a little bit of fear.
Even though there's still a little bit of fear.
What if I just choose to be safe in this stuckness?
What if I just choose to be safe in this stuckness?
And just avoid doing what I've got to do.
And it's actually avoid doing what I've got to do and avoid being seen.
Aha. Yes. And avoid being seen.
And avoid being seen.
And I feel these little bubbles of anxiety.
And I feel these little bubbles of anxiety.
In the front of my chest.
In the front of my chest.
I accept myself and how I feel.
I accept myself and how I feel.
Those words okay?
Mm-hmm.
Even though there's still some fear.
Even though there's still some fear.
Because my mind feels pretty calm now.
Because my mind feels pretty calm now.
But I'm thinking, what if I just still choose to stay in this stuckness?
But I'm thinking, what if I just choose to stay in this stuckness?
And what if I just still want to avoid being seen and doing what I have to do?
And what if I just still want to avoid being seen and doing what I have to do?
And I feel little bubbles of anxiety.
And I feel little bubbles of anxiety.
In the front of my chest.
In the front of my chest.
But I accept myself and how I feel.
But I accept myself and how I feel.
Even though there's still a little bit of fear.
Even though there's still a little bit of fear.
That even though I feel calm now.
That even though I feel calm now.
That I'm still not going to do what I need to do.
That I'm still not going to do what I need to do.
That I might choose to just be safe in stuckness.
I might choose to just be safe in stuckness.
Because I want to avoid being seen.
Because I want to avoid being seen.
And I feel little bubbles of anxiety in the front of my chest.
And I feel little bubbles of anxiety in the front of my chest.
My mind is saying, yeah, you can do it or you can not do it.
My mind is saying, yeah, you can do it or not do it.
And I accept myself and all this fear.
And I accept myself and all this fear.
All right, top of the head, this fear.
This fear.
This fear.
This fear.
This fear, like little bubbles of anxiety.
This fear, like little bubbles of anxiety.
Little bubbles in the front of my chest.
Little bubbles in the front of my chest.
This fear.
This fear.
Feels like little bubbles of anxiety.
Feels like little bubbles of anxiety.
In front of my chest.
In front of my chest.
This fear.
This fear.
This fear.
This fear.
Okie dokie. So come back to the side of the hand. Doing such a good job, Susie. So now as you imagine yourself sitting down this afternoon, all those annoying little details and things you've got to change and make decisions about. What's the fear 0 to 10 that you might just want to stay stuck?
I think it's a 0 actually right now. It's just yeah, good.
What makes you think it's a 0? Like, how can you tell?
Well, because it just feels like I don't have any of those anxious sensations or feelings in my chest or my stomach. I just feel quite connected. I feel very expansive in my heart. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's good.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, if it's a 0, we can just leave it there pretty much.
Yeah.
How much do you feel like you're going to do that goal? Like how kind of confident do you feel just now that you can do what
Yeah,
you're doing this afternoon to launch it?
I feel pretty confident. I feel like 80% confident.
Yeah. Okay. And how motivated do you feel?
Yeah, I feel pretty motivated, like same, about 80%.
Okay. And how safe does it feel?
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I do feel, I feel really safe actually. I feel like 90% safe.
Fabulous. All right. Well, you feel your body feels okay? Okay, good. Well, here ended the textbook EFT session, Susie.
Great.
Thank you so much. And we'll check in next week and we'll go over our little statements and see how you've gone with the goal. And yeah, we'll just keep on going with it. Thank you so much for volunteering. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.